For those who have not used the Lensbaby before, there are a couple of things that you need to know beforehand. First, it's that to take pictures of Lensbaby, you first need to be able to set the correct settings for your camera to get correct exposure. You will be able to change the aperture of the Lensbaby by varying the aperture disc inside the lens, and this is very simple to do. With each Lensbaby, you actually have this magnetic pen along with a cache of aperture disc. Changing the aperture disc is very simple. Merely take the cap off the magnetic pen and capture the disc with the magnet. Once that is done, you can take an alternative disc and drop it in. The magnet will catch it automatically before it contacts with the lens. Taking pictures, you would first need to take your camera into aperture priority mode and obviously set it to the correct aperture settings as in accordance with the disc that you've put inside the lens. Then you can let the camera's exposure metering do the work for you so that you can get the right picture. For some, you may actually want to control it with going full manual mode as well for better control. Once you've got your settings done, taking pictures would obviously require a little dexterity when you're using the Lensbaby Muse. As the focusing is manual, having a good grip on the lens is important, and the best way it seems to do it is to have two fingers from your left hand onto the lens and the middle finger of your right, so you kind of form an equilateral triangle. This gives you a very good grip on the lens without affecting your shutter grip. So you can take pictures very easily while still maintaining a steady and firm hold on the lens wherever you may have it pointed. Now, by varying the angle of the lens, you will actually move the sweet spot accordingly. So basically, depending on your composition, you may want to move it up, down, or sideways. And once you've got the right spot, you want to hold it and then compress or depress the lens as necessary to make sure you have the correct focusing. Now obviously, it would be very difficult to exactly mimic the previous shot, or at least make the same setting over a series of different shots, because every time you would have slight variations. So you would often find that it may be a little bit touch and go and a bit of trial and error involved. However, that's part of the creative and fun process of using a Lensbaby. For those who need more control, perhaps they should consider the Lensbaby Composer. Now, the Lensbaby Composer can allow you to hold the lens as you would normally with your other standard lens. It still allows you to turn it as necessary to move the sweet spot. Once you've done it, you can actually just take a photo, or if necessary, you can actually lock it by turning the lock ring on the back so that the angle of the lens will be locked. However, this will not affect the focus, as you can still turn the focus ring as necessary to make sure that you have the correct focusing. For those who are taking lots of pictures of macro shots of products, for example, this will be very convenient. Changing the aperture is only one aspect of the variations that you can use with the Lensbaby for more creative effects. By getting the Optic kit, you actually have a choice of 3 other optics for your Lensbaby to have variations. Right now, in both the Muse and the Composer I have in front of me, it's actually a double glass optics that is inside the camera. However, with the Optic kit, you have a choice of 3 more lens optic swap system with 4 variations. One being the plastic optic, the other being the single glass optic, and the last being both either a pinhole or zone plate. Changing the optics is actually very easy as well. For example, if I were to change the double glass in this camera right now with, say, the plastic optic, all I need to do is just use the cap and place the bridge in accordance with the lens, and then just twist easily, and I can remove it. Dropping the other lens on is also very simple. Simply take the lens out, drop it in so that it sits in properly. If it doesn't, it will sit up. So just turn it until you got it dropped in, and then again repeat the process and make sure that it's locked in firmly, and then you can start shooting again.